Hi there, warriors, and welcome to this new live stream on the Uruguay YouTube channel. And today we have a clear topic of discussion, because this week all the media say that the new manager is being appointed after a long time. Because you have to remember the November international break, Tavares was sacked at the end, and we already now 3 weeks after this, and still there's not been a new manager appointed for Uruguay. Uruguay, who will play 4 decisive World Cup qualifiers in just over a month. So it is time to be, well, he told us the dream man they want was Marcelo Gallardo, but it was always going to be a tough one because Gallardo earns $6.5 million a year at River Plate, and in Uruguay, for the Uruguay national team manager, the basically the limit for a monthly or a yearly salary is around 2 million, maybe even a bit less. So it's always going to be difficult. And besides the money side, Gallardo is a manager who probably his next move will be a big club in Europe. So he has decided to stay at River for one more year. So Uruguay, the AUF had to look further, and there were some names on the list. Jose Peckerman was discussed a little bit, but he's gone to Venezuela. Fabian Coito was maybe an option, but he doesn't seem to be in the mix anymore. Guillermo Amada, he went to Pachuca. So now we have three names, and three names that the AUF consider, and it's Diego Aguirre, it's Diego Alonso, and it's of course the name has gone from my head. I don't know why, but let me think. Alexander Medina, the manager of Talleres in Argentina. So yeah, these are the three names that are being considered right now. Aguirre, he's been in the minds of the board for a lot of years as the possible successor of Tabares, but at this moment in time, it's not so. How do you say it? He's not the favorite, like the clear favorite, which he used to be. And it is because when he broke through as a manager, he did a good job. Before he went to Peñarol in 2009, and when he went to the 2011 Copa Libertadores final. But around this time, he was at the top of his game. He was considered a great manager for Peñarol, and there was a lot of interest for him. But then he went to Qatar, and he spent a lot of years in Qatar, in Asia, basically filling his pockets. Which, well, I mean, I'm not gonna take him. He has to do what he has to do. Obviously, I can understand this, but from a sporting perspective, he didn't make the great choice because he was in Qatar a lot of time, and he has been a manager of Internacional, like he's right now. He's been manager of Sao Paulo, so he's had done some big jobs, but he's not really got this huge job which he smashed, which he won titles, things like this. So after the Peñarol stint, which was a good one, a really good one, in 2009, 2010, 2011, uh, he has not been able to replicate this. And although he still did good jobs everywhere, it's not that he had done a bad job. He still did decent jobs everywhere. He's not been this hot prospect anymore. So the shine which his name had 10 years ago, it's kind of gone a little bit, in my opinion. Still, he's a solid option, and he's also an option which is considered in the AUF as a really strong one. Um, the other name we were talking about now is Diego Alonso. Diego Alonso is the former striker. He played for Atletico Madrid, for example, and he's a young manager who's done good jobs in Mexico. After maybe not doing amazingly before, but he went to Mexico in 2013 or 14, I think, and he done good jobs in Mexico with Pachuca and Monterrey as well. Won two CONCACAF Champions League titles, which is, I mean, the CONCACAF Champions League title, maybe it's less harder to win than in Europe, obviously, but still, he has done it, and it's something on his CV, which you could say, well, he's won these titles, and it certainly speaks for him. Another thing that speaks for him is that he has, in talks with the AUF, promised that he will bring Profe Ortega as his physical trainer, and Ortega is the physical trainer of Diego Simeone at Atletico Madrid. Well respected. And he's a Uruguayan, obviously, or not obviously, but he is a Uruguayan. And this is something that the AOF really likes. So this speaks for him a little bit. And well, the downside to Alonso, I think, is when you look at Inter Miami, he went there the inaugural season, the first season of the existence of Inter Miami, and it did not go as maybe they wanted, but he got them into the playoffs. So they were eliminated from the playoffs in the first round. So it was deemed as maybe a failure, and he was eventually, I think, he was sacked. And Phil Neville, a former footballer and also a friend of the owner, David Beckham, came in. So probably this is somebody David Beckham probably was thinking, maybe I can bring a friend in, because the logic behind him being sacked wasn't that great. Because what are you expecting? This is the first year of the existence of Inter Miami. You cannot expect him to win the MLS immediately. So yeah, you have to give someone time to build a team, and he wasn't given time. So it would be for me unfair to judge him on this season, because if you judge him on his career and what he's done in the last few years, well, I mean, he's made a name for himself. Won 2 Champions League titles in North America, in North and Central America, and that is something that speaks for him. And he is a modern manager. I wouldn't say he's, if you compare him like to Guillermo Almada, who is my preferred option. He's not possible anymore, but even preferred option. Alonso, the way he makes his team play, it's not that attractive like on Almada, but certainly it has some high intensity, real fighting spirit, and also plays some attractive football sometimes. But it's more based on also being pragmatic, a bit like Diego Aguirre. Um, but still, Alonso, he's proven himself in Mexico. He's a good young manager, and he comes with a certain with some good traits as a manager, and also like Prof Ortega, who comes with him probably, is something positive. And he's also Diego Alonso is also liked by the AUF president Ignacio Alonso, likes him a lot. So this is something that this also comes in his favor. So we will have to see what comes out, because it's really interesting. I have no idea who they are going to appoint. So it can be Diego Aguirre, Diego Alonso, can be Alexander Medina. I will talk about him a little bit later. All of these three names, they can be it. For me, it's not something. It's not like it's clear for me who's gonna be it. I read a lot. Obviously, I read a lot about what is going on and try to inform me as well for people who maybe know more than I do. But it's not clear. It's open, and Alonso and Aguirre already talked with the AOF, with the board, and Alexander Medina is going to talk today or tomorrow, one of the two, with the AOF. And at the back of this, they will evaluate the board, and they will make the decision. And the expectancy is that they will make it on Wednesday. Um, and yeah, and we have to be honest. I mean, the date right now is 13 December, Wednesday, 15 December. Um, just 1 month and a half until the matches start again. So we have to get it done. We have to get it done, because okay, we know the players will only come a few days before the game, but it will be really nice, or it will help a lot when you get a manager in the job, that he can begin to work, begin to get contact with the players, and yeah, get this going, because that is also really important. So yeah, for the people on the chat there, thanks for being here. Thanks a lot. Fi says hi. Hi Fi, good to see you here. Thank you for being here. Daniel S says, I don't think Aguirre is an upgrade over Tabares. Well, I don't agree with you completely, because I think Aguirre is a better manager than Tabares, and more importantly, Aguirre has a better management team or a coaching staff than Tabares. For example, Juan Verseri, who was the manager of the Uruguay under 20 team in 2013, who reached the final. I mean, this is a long time ago, I know, but I think he's a better manager, and he also has a better coaching staff. But I do agree with you that it probably isn't a big upgrade, It's not the upgrade we probably need to get to the next level. And he's a pragmatic coach. That's the truth, in my opinion. And we also have to remember, he went to Internacional a few months ago. He took over Internacional, and he really, well, he took over and they got results. They got clean sheets. They climbed on the table, but in the last few months they went back again. I think I have the statistic right there, and this is including. This is not including the last game, so I will include it now. So the last 14 games, Diego Aguirre as international manager, 2 wins, 3 draws, and 9 losses. So, I mean, that is not good enough. And because of this bad streak, they have lost out on the Copa Libertadores qualification. So, yeah, I mean, that is not great. We can be really blunt about it because that is not great statistics. And then you look at the other options. Diego Alonso, obviously, he's not been in a job for a while now. But the thing is, I don't. When a manager is not in a job anymore, I always see this. Obviously, when a player doesn't play, he lacks regularity or continuity. So maybe it hurts his game. But when a manager is not coaching or not managing, it also gives him it's something different because it gives him an option to really like get back, watch what is going on, why maybe FIM is sacked, why have things not been going well, and probably try to, well, develop his ideology, develop his ideas, get to another level. And I really think with managers being a few months out of management or maybe a year, it can really, a lot of times it helps for them to reevaluate or rethink about what they want to do, how they want the team see their teams play. So for Alonso, I think it's a really interesting option. And for me, I would prefer. It's difficult. I'm between Alonso and Medina. One of these two for me should be the appointment. Aguirre, if they appoint him, which I wouldn't be surprised, um, I won't be mad, because Aguirre is not a bad manager at all. Obviously not. But for me, it's it's um it's a step, it's upgrade, but it's not a big upgrade, and also not really thinking about the future. Okay, so we talked about Aguirre, I talked about Alonso. Now let's talk about Alexander Medina, because from all the three managers that we are being talking about right now, he for sure is the one in his career in his best moment. So when you look at three managers, when you look at current form, we always talk about players with current form, how they have been doing this season. Are they in their prime or are they on the decline? When you talk about this with managers, of the three managers we are talking about right now, he is certainly in the best form, as a manager, in the best moment, because he has taken he has taken a Talleres side, Club Atlético Talleres, um, to some great achievements. Talleres is not one of the big five in Argentina. It's not a small club, but it's certainly not a big club. He took over in 2019, and he has steadily built his team, progressed his team, gotten them more competitive, gotten them good results. This season, they only finished second to River Plate in the Argentinian League, and they went to the Argentinian Cup final and lost on penalties. So yeah, we can talk about finishing second twice. That is losing. Obviously, it's failure, but you have to have a little bit of context to this, because Talleres is not Boca Juniors. Talleres is not Racing Club. So Talleres is not expected to be second or be first. So when they come to this stage, it's a big achievement. And in his time at Talleres, Medina has had a really good record against the big five of Argentina. Um, he's always managed to get his teams up and tactically got it right in the big games. And he's a manager that is a manager of today. His preferred playing system is 4-2-3-1. Obviously, he has variations of this. This is preferred system, playing mainly with one striker then and wingers, which I think is the way we should go as well for Uruguay. And yeah, I mean, he is for me a promising manager in the way that he sees football. Try to be pressing team, high intensity, try to play attacking football, but also know when it's maybe when the situation is there that you have to be a bit more pragmatic. Because I would love Uruguay to play attacking football, but we don't have to be stupid. We also have to realize that we want to be playing good football. We want to be attack minded, but you don't. You also have to defensively. You have to sort it out. So there are moments that you maybe have to get back and sit back. But for Uruguay, the cohesion, the balance of the attacking side, the offensive side, it was just completely lost in the last few games, in the last few years, in my opinion. So, a manager like Medina, he can come in and do a job. And you also have to remember, he is the manager of today and tomorrow. He's a young manager who's been in management for 5 years, um, and he's been gradually improved himself as a manager and got in certainly at Talleres done really a good work. So he's a manager that is growing and growing. And when you look at Aguirre, he's a manager that's not growing. His best moment was in 2010, 2011. At this moment in time, he is not the hot prospect if you are talking about this. And yeah, you want this manager that is basically in a really good moment. And Alonso or Medina is this. Alonso, he's been out of a job for more than a few months right now, but still, in the last few years, in the last 5 years, he has done some really good things in Mexico. So this is why these two managers, because of their results in the last few years, because of they are more modern, more high intensity, high pressing, and more suited to the modern game and the modern player. This is why these two, for me, have the edge over Aguirre. But yeah, that's my opinion. Let me know for you, what is your preferred option? You like Aguirre? Would you like Alonso? Would you like Medina? What is your preferred option? Because we are aware now that it's one of these three. That's the way it is. And to be honest, I would have loved very much. Um, I would have loved very much Almada. But yeah, it's not gonna happen. So with to be realistic, I will um, retweet that we are live because maybe to get some more people coming and some more chat. I appreciate all of you being here, by the way, as I always do, obviously. But yeah, I will take a look at the comments. Juan Curbelo says, "Let's go, bro. I'm a big fan of the Uruguayan Euros." Thank you very much, my friend. Good to see you here. And yeah, Uruguayan Euros. The account on Twitter is Uruguay Euros. Uruguayan Euros, the original account. I've got good hope that it will be back in the upcoming weeks. It's been a long time, but yeah, you know what? The thing is, it's about copyright issues. So I made copyright violations, which basically mean I posted a goal of Suarez scoring or Araujo scoring or Cavani scoring, and probably a few weeks later or maybe even months later, the copyright owner from La Liga or from Ligue 1 or from Premier League, whatever, is gonna file a complaint to Twitter. Twitter is gonna handle it, gonna cut it down, and when you get a few strikes, you get a warning, and eventually you get suspended. And but because Twitter is basically really busy with this kind of stuff, and it's getting more and more, it takes an awful lot of time for people or for Twitter and these things to get back to you. So the processing of these things take a just ridiculous amount of time, and this is why for now, probably 8 or 9 months, I have not been able to be on the old account. Although I've done nothing wrong because I posted a video, but you know what? I don't make any money of posting this video, but I learned my lesson. I will not do that anymore. It's for me. It's not worth to post a goal from Suarez if that means that 4 or 5 years of hard work every day gets thrown in the bin. So, but it's the way it is. I hope really with all my heart that it's gonna be back very soon. But yeah, Daniel S says, just saying, he's been fired everywhere, he's gone. Talking about Aguirre, yeah, that's true as well. I mean, the thing is, in South America, when a manager has been fired, it doesn't always mean that he has done a dreadful job, because we know how South American football is. It's really high temperament, and there's been cases where he's been to the semifinals of the Copa Libertadores with, I think it was Sao Paulo or Internacional, and he's been fired a few months later as well. So I know what you mean. He's not had a great track record in recent years. He was still he's still done good things in his career. He's not a bad manager in my opinion. Talking about Diego Aguirre. Daniel S says, it depends on what AUF is looking for. If we want a real project, then you go with Cacique, but I think Alonso has a leg up on the other two. Yeah, I mean, I think Alonso and Medina, actually Medina, like you say, both can be the face of a real project. They are two competent, good managers in my opinion. But like you say, I also think Alonso has one up on. Well, before I said I don't have an idea as to who's going to be it, and I still don't. But when you think about it, Ignacio Alonso, the president of the IOF, as well, it's really clear, it's really well known that he is personal preference for Diego Alonso. So this is gonna carry some weight. So you have to see if this is going to be decisive or not. We will have to see. I to be honest, Medina or Alonso, both of them, I will be okay with that. Daniel S. Either way, I think about 70 or 80% of the call-ups are in place, and I think we will live and die with Godin, Suarez, and Cavani if they are healthy. Well, you know what? Godin, Suarez, Cavani, I can see this. But if any manager, if it's Aguirre or Alonso or Medina, comes in next international break and Vecino is still playing or Cáceres is still playing, I don't know. I don't care if they are in the job for 1 second. I will call it out and say to them, you are not the right manager. Because if you can't see these things, these simple things, these wrong calls, then I will go for your balls and I will go for your head basically, because that is just unacceptable. But I do have confidence that this will not happen. So let's see, and let's hope we will not suffer this, because I mean, come on, we've suffered this for a long time now. Uh, Eduardo says Alonso will be the manager. Yeah, I mean, could be the case. Like Daniel S has said, it's yeah. Ignacio Alonso is the president and he likes him a lot, so it could be really that this is the decisive factor. And Eduardo says as well, do you think we can get the 4-win streak? Is it likely? Well, you know what? Completely rationally looking at the team we have, the squad we have, and the squads we're gonna face. So Venezuela, Chile, Peru, and the last one is escaping my mind, Paraguay. When you look at these three squads, or sorry, the 5 squads, so Paraguay, Venezuela, Chile, and Peru, and Uruguay, we have a better squad than all of these. Doesn't always mean you're gonna win this, because you are facing teams certainly away from home who will provide something different than just the quality of their players, but also in terms of the crowd behind them and the mentality of these teams. Um, but rationally looking, yeah, we can go on a 4-win streak because we have a really good squad. But I personally believe that we will get 3 wins and 1 draw. And maybe this is being a really bit positive, but I think we can do this, and I think we will do this, and we need to do this because, I mean, we are just, even if a new manager comes in and we are getting a little bit more positivity, it's still true that we are outside of the qualification spots right now, and it's still true that we could really, really miss on the World Cup. We could really miss out because it's something so realistic at this moment. 4 games to go, and we're out of the qualification spots. And yeah, it's not. It's. I still think we will qualify, but certainly it's not some. It's not a. How do you say it? It's not something that's going to be easy at this moment. The way we have been playing for the last 14 games and the results we have got in the last 14 games. Um, Vincent says, "Do you think in the last couple of years Tabares was a terrorist of a manager?" Well, I mean, you know what, with Tabares, he, I mean, whatever you're gonna say about him, he always wants to have the best for Uruguay. Obviously he's a manager. He wanted to win. He wanted to do the best for the national team for sure. I mean, his ways of doing this or his ways of trying to achieve this weren't right. We all could see this, but he always wanted to do the best for Uruguay. But maybe sometimes his ego was in the way. Um, but it's the way it is, you know. It's a sad way that how it has gone the last few years. But I'm over it right now, you know. I'm looking at the future and I'm looking at who's going to come in and who hopefully can take us to the World Cup. As far as Tabares is concerned, I will always have the memories of him and the teams and the performances he has been given us. Um, but also, I will have some really, really regretful, how do you say it, regrettable moments of him in charge, where Uruguay basically unrecognizable. But yeah, that's the way it is. Okay, Vincent with another comment. Do you think a lot of managers don't want to come because they are afraid if they don't qualify, they could be fired? Um, I don't think that's the case. You know why? Because when you are a player or a manager, and for sure there are players and managers who don't have this, but when you are one of these, you always have to believe in yourself, because otherwise you are not cut out to do this high pressure job. You're not cut out to be a player that's going to win trophies or win games, or you're not going to be a manager that's going to win trophies or win games if you don't believe in yourself. So any manager, certainly with the squad we do have right now, is going to want to come into the job and back themselves. And you also have to remember, for these managers, because Medina, he's done a good job in Talleres, for Alonso, who's done a good job in Mexico, these managers, Uruguay is their golden ticket to become a good or a recognized manager. Because for them, they are not ex-players who have won 2 Champions Leagues or won 2 Premier Leagues. They are not well-known ex-players. So for them to make it into management, they can do brilliantly in Argentina or Mexico. But for them to make this step up to a big league, maybe in Spain or in England, from managing in Mexico or Argentina, it's never going to happen. Maybe it can happen with when they being appointed in a Segunda team in Spain or whatever, and they build their way up. But it's not really hard to see this happen. So managing Uruguay, because they are Uruguayan obviously, and they are two of the best Uruguayan managers around right now, is basically the most short option, but also for them obviously the best, because they are Uruguayan. The dream of any Uruguayan player is to play for Uruguay, and any manager to manage Uruguay. But for them, it's the shortest option to success as a manager, and as a recognizable manager worldwide. Because if you take over as Uruguay manager right now, you qualify for the World Cup, you get another 4 years. You have players like Araujo, Darwin Núñez, Fede Valverde, Bentancur, Ugarte. I mean, I can go on. All these talented players, you can work with them for the 4 years after this, try to qualify for another World Cup, maybe do something in Copa. You are going to make a name for yourself. If you do the job right, if you are the right man, you will make a name for yourself if you do a good job with Uruguay. And then for them, there are more options when you look at their career in the future. They could maybe go on in Spain or in Italy and take on a team like Sampdoria, Fiorentina, and get into these big leagues because of their performance, or because of their job as a Uruguay manager. So looking further, I'm really now. I remember your question still, but I've gone on a train of thought which was happening. But to your question, do you think some don't want to come because they are afraid they are not going to qualify? Simple question or simple answer is that if you're a manager or a player, you always have to back yourself. So they will come and be confident in themselves, and also they will know, if I get this job right, my career as a manager can really go on the rise, and that is what they have to look at. Yeah, in my opinion. Let me have a look. With Daniel S. And by the way, thank you for being here. Please, if you are not already, subscribe to the channel. As the Uruguay are going to be back in a month and a half, I will start posting videos, live streams, all of this. I try to also do this in between international breaks, but sometimes I wasn't really consistent in doing this. Maybe I try to do it again and try to get it up going, because I like it a lot, but sometimes I'm a bit lazy at that, and also I have cool stuff to do, which is a pain in the ass, to be honest. But yeah, I will be back for sure doing this, because it's really nice for me, in my opinion. And yeah, hopefully you like it as well. And if you like it, please like the video. I would appreciate it a lot. Okay. Daniel S says, with everybody healthy, who would your starting 11 be? Bench, formation, and system and tactics. Okay. Let me take a sip of water, because it's not gonna be a hard one, but yeah. Okay. Well, for me, the formation I would go with, and no, let me do this. Let me do like this. So the formation Medina plays with usually, and also Alonso has done it a lot as well, and Aguirre as well, is the 4-2-3-1. This formation that a lot of managers are using, obviously, but these three managers have been using this a lot throughout their career as a manager. So let me take this. I have some different ideas, but let's be realistic. So let's go for the 4-2-3-1. I will start. You know what? The goalkeeper one is probably the hardest, because I don't think Muslera deserves to start anymore, but Rochette is injured, which for me is the second one in line. I think Sebastian Sosa is a good option. Martin Campagna, but he went to Asia. So it's a hard one. So probably I would go with Martin Campaña at this moment. Sebastian Sosa, I would agree with you if this is your option, but I'm going for Martin Campaña. Left back, Alfonso Espino. I don't care if he's not played a minute for Uruguay yet. He's not been called up for Uruguay yet. He's the best Uruguayan left back in the world. Piqueres, promising. Fina, promising. But these two at this moment are not at the level like Espino. They can maybe one day be this because they are young and they're talented. But Pacha Espino is the best Uruguayan left back in the world. And you know what? It's not that hard. Play your best players. It's the best option or the best. You then have the best chances at winning a game. Don't play the players that have been playing there for 10 years. Just because they were good 8 years ago doesn't mean they can serve they serve us or they do the job today. Because we have seen this time and time again. It doesn't work like this. So Espino left back. In the defense, I would, you know what? The one person that I would be giving a fixed starting position right now is Araujo. Jimenez, he's been struggling a lot with injuries. I'm not sure how it's gonna go right now. He's still out at Atletico, and he's not been playing really well for Atletico in the last few weeks, few months as well. So at this moment in time, I would go Araujo and Coates. Jimenez, obviously, in potential, he's the best Uruguayan center back we have. But if you look at the current situation, then Jimenez has been injured. He's not in his best form. So I would go with Coates, who's been absolutely fantastic, absolutely fantastic for Sporting in the Champions League, in the Portuguese League, just impeccable. Araujo, the same for Barcelona. He's one of the only bright lights for Barcelona at this moment in time. So I know that people in Uruguay and also around the world maybe sometimes criticize him or Coates for the performances for Uruguay, but you have to remember they hardly play. When they play the game, they're being thrown in a formation that is not even being played before, like we played against Argentina, where we all of a sudden switch to the five at the back. So what do you expect, in a team that is so mismanaged, you have to be realistic as well. But yeah, I would go Espino, Araujo, and Coates with the side note that obviously Jimenez, when fit and playing and in form, yeah, he goes back in because he's the best Uruguayan center back in potential. Okay, right back for me, it's really clear. Damian Suarez, best Uruguayan right back in the world. Not played a minute for Uruguay yet. I mean, that's criminal. I mean, I'm only trying to make a joke, but Tabares probably should get charges for this. But, but because this is unacceptable. And Cáceres plays there sometimes, even though Cáceres is one of the worst defenders in Italy at this moment, playing for one of the worst defensive sides in Italy. And Damian Suarez is one of the best right backs in Getafe. In Spain with Getafe. So he deserves it. 100% deserves it. Okay, then I would go to the midfield. So I said to you, I'm going for a 4-2-3-1. Ideally, I would go with. Let me go for a 4-3-3, okay, or a 4. I mean, it's better because then the midfield works better in my opinion. So I would go with Torreira as the regista, so the holding midfielder, and I would go Bentancur Valverde. For me, these are the three best Uruguayan midfielders at this moment in time. Arambari has done some great things for Getafe in the last few years. Ugarte is breaking through for Sporting. De La Cruz is doing some fantastic work for River Plate after a tough start, but he's injured at the moment. So these are all names you can consider, and probably more. But for me, the midfield would be this, just how I would like it. Then I would go, and this is the hardest part because, this is the hardest part because if the new manager comes in, I think he will make it really clear. We will play one striker up front because the managers that they have been discussed and they are usually play with a formation with one striker. So he will probably pick one of Suarez and Cavani. Then you have to look who is going to play on the sides. And I know Darwin Núñez is a striker, but you have to remember, or you have to realize that for Benfica, he plays a lot of the times from the left side. And he doesn't play like a left winger. He's more like a inside forward. I'm not sure what that exactly is, but he plays mostly. Yaremchuk, the Ukrainian striker, plays in the central attacking position, and Darwin and Rafa play from the sides. And Darwin, obviously, he exploits a lot of the spaces which a number nine exploits, but he also finds himself on the wing, drops deep, so he's active. He's really active. So for me, Darwin can do a job on the left with a lot of freedom to go in behind the defensive line, basically as a second striker. Then I would play Darwin, Suarez or Cavani as the number nine, and to the right, well, we ideally we want a pure winger, you know. You want a pure winger. So you could play Georgia Darasqueta there, but I think we need a pure winger there. So Darasqueta, I wouldn't play him at this moment in the ideal lineup. If we are talking about different lineups, different formations, yeah, we could maybe do it. But if you're looking at the 4-2-3-1 or maybe a 4-3-3, Darasqueta, for me, no, not at this moment. So to the right, we have options like Brian Ocampo. We could play Facundo Torres right there. Brian Rodriguez, obviously, who's played there a lot. David Terrans from Atletico Paranaense. So there are a lot of options. At this moment, I would not. I can't say who's going to play there. I'm not. I'm not sure because it's not like there's a lot of between these players. You know, they all have their potential, their qualities. It's just we have to find out who's gonna hit the form at the right moment. Because you know what, if for example, if Facundo Pellistri for Alaves right now scores 4 goals in January in 5 games, gives 2 assists, and is in a form of his life, then you have to look at someone like this, because that is what I want to see as well. I don't want to see the same 11 every time. Obviously, when it works and when they are in form, yeah, we're gonna see it. But I want to see a manager that is proactive in his team selection. So when a player is playing well for his club or is doing well in a substitute appearance for Uruguay, play him. I mean, it's not obviously you have players who are indispensable and they will play most of the games, but you also have to have this. You also have to have this. How do you say it? Playing on merit, picking players on merit. When a player is on form, when a player is ripping up trees for their club, you have to recognize that, acknowledge this, and give them a chance, because it's a closed shop for Uruguay in the last few years. We all know who's going to play. We all know it's going to play, and we know it's not going to change. We knew it was not going to change, and it was frustrating because then you see a player like Damian Suarez, Arambari, sometimes even Jonathan Rodriguez. I know he's not done great in his Uruguay career, but there was a point in time that Rodriguez was the top scorer in Mexico, and he wasn't even given one like a few minutes in the Copa America. He was given a few minutes, but there were also games where he could have played from the start, and he was not even given a chance. And I think to myself, how depressing would this be for a player, you know, who wants to play for his country? Is the biggest pride of a player, and you're playing so well for your club, like Nico Lopez, for example, for Tigres, and you don't even get a look, you don't even get a chance. I mean, come on, that's just ridiculous. So hopefully this is gonna change. I hope it really, really a lot. Okay. Let me look at the comments. Dr. Burger says, good name, by the way. I agree. There's no excuse. In my opinion, we have the easiest schedule compared to other teams around us in the table. What Colombia have not, I think Colombia is one of the ones that have not the most difficult one. Chile has a really hard one. Peru, uh, probably a little bit harder. Uh, and Ecuador, I don't think it really matters because Ecuador, in my opinion, is they are true and they deserve it because they have been the best of the rest, in my opinion. But yeah, you have to remember, we have to realize. I mean, we we have matches that we should win. I mean, if you want to, you have to look at it like this. You know, if we want to not only qualify for the World Cup, but if we want to compete, which for me it's the only one I'm thinking about, because obviously qualifying for the World Cup is not a given. It's not something that uh, is is certain. You know, you have to earn it, you have to fight for it. But Uruguay, with the squad we have right now and we have for the last few years, it's an obligation to qualify for the World Cup, in my opinion. So if you are doing it like we are doing it right now, and we are not there yet, obviously, it shows that you're underperforming looking at the team we have. And this is why I was always I was saying, even if we qualify with Tabres, even if we qualify, doesn't justify it's not enough, because yeah, obviously you want to qualify, but the moment or the way we are playing, the way we are progressing, it in no way showed any signs that we are improving, we are progressing, and it showed no, for me, no showed for me no like example or no hope that we can be competitive for Uruguay or for in the World Cup with Uruguay, because the team wasn't showing anything like this. It wasn't showing something of a competitiveness, something of a big quality, a progression, which marks a team, or which marks a team that can maybe compete in a World Cup. And that is what Uruguay is all about, because Uruguay is not there to make up the numbers. If you are Bolivia, with all respect, or Venezuela, when you qualify for the World Cup, brilliant. Amazing job, and you will be there and you will enjoy every minute of it. But when you're in Uruguay, you don't go to a World Cup to basically be in the eye of the world, and maybe play 3 matches and go home. No, you are there to compete. And I'm not stupid, I'm not naive. I know that to win a World Cup it will be hard when you look at the talent or the teams that compete for the World Cup as well. But when you are Uruguay and you've won 15 Copa Americas, 4 world titles, you will never go to World Cup thinking, okay, good that we are, nice, gonna be a nice 4 weeks. That's enough. No, you're gonna be there to be competitive, and always with the dream to be competitive and to win the World Cup. That's every tournament Uruguay start. You have to be, you have to have the hope, the belief that you're gonna win the tournament. And under Tabares in the last few years, the hope wasn't there. Certainly in the last 2 Copa Americas, and that is for me one of the biggest downsides under Tabares' era. But I'm talking about Tabares now. It's not the time to do it. But I got drawn into this. I'm sorry. Okay. Eduardo, Chile has to play Argentina, Brazil, Ecuador, and Bolivia and La Paz. Ecuador have some tough games coming too. We have the most accessible games if we do the right things with the quality of players. We- Um, yeah, no, you're right. We have one of the most accessible fixture list for the last 4 games. So yeah, we are not in a good spot if you look at the table and the recent results. But if you look ahead, we have we can do this. Obviously, and I think still we will do this. I think we will qualify. So yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Um, we have the okay. Eduardo says we have the caliber of players that Argentina has. Basically, with good management, we can even potentially be World Cup contenders. I agree with that. And I have had some debates on Twitter with people thinking I'm overrating this Uruguay squad, and I know it's not France or it's not France or Brazil, but it's a good squad. And when you look at Croatia, I don't hope I pronounced it right, going to the World Cup final. Look at their squad and look at our squad right now. Do you think there's a lot of difference? I think Croatia are if they had a brilliant group of players, really talented, hardworking, like a real team. But I don't think Uruguay are any less than this squad right there. And obviously they had some luck in the draw. I think they played first. They played Denmark, then Russia, then England, and then went to the final. So yeah, you have to have a bit of luck because we played Portugal and then we went to France. So maybe if we were the other side of the draw, we could have been in the World Cup final. Who knows? I'm not going to talk about this because if buts maybes. I'm not here for this. But yeah, it can happen. We can do it if because we have a good squad, a really good squad. And yeah, I agree with you, Eduardo. And thanks for the comments. Thanks everybody for the comments here. Some really interesting comments. Yeah, and also for the ones that have not already done this, put in the comments who do you want? You want Alonso, Medina, or Aguirre? Who is the manager you want? Just let me know. I'm really interested to hear how the percentages are. Is this the majority for someone, or maybe it's a little bit more split? Um, Alvaro Vasquez says greetings from Uruguay. Thank you very much, Alvaro. Good to see you here. And greetings back. Obviously, hope you enjoy your day. Daniel S says my starting 11 would be 4-3-2-1. Rochette, De Amayo Suarez, Hernandez, Arajo, Jimenez, Espino, Torreira, Valverde, Bentancur, Cavani, Suarez, and Nunez. I like some parts of it for sure. I think 4-3-2-1 is interesting. But in my opinion, I mean, Rochette, if he's fit, yeah, maybe he's the best Uruguayan goalkeeper right now. Damian Suarez, Nandes, I would play Damian Suarez, but Nandes, yeah, he's had some brilliant performances for Uruguay in this position. Arajo, Jimenez, yeah, Jimenez or Coates. I mean, Araujo, Jimenez or Coates, all these three, they could start. They deserve to start. For me, they are ahead of Godin. For sure, they are ahead of Godin. He's the captain for sure, but that's the thing. We have to have a reset. We don't. Have to stop, and the manager for sure who's coming, stop thinking or looking at status. At what has been achieved in the last 15 years. And obviously, achievements or results or a player's career, it you have to have respect for it. But yeah, we have to move on. Football is now and today. Football is not yesterday. Football is not 10 years ago. Football, you can only win today. You cannot win yesterday. You cannot win tomorrow. You have to look at today, and you have to look at who are the players that are the best to do this. And Godin, although I love him so much, and you all probably do, um, it's time to move on. That's the way it is. And looking at your lineup again, Espino, I agree. Torreira, Valverde, Bentancur, like I said, it's my preferred midfield as well. The only thing I would disagree with is the attacking setup of Cavani, Suarez, and Nunez. So I think it's time we have to look at one striker of Cavani and Suarez. That's the way it is, in my opinion. When you have Cavani, Suarez, Nunez, they are they're not similar. They're different, but they are a little bit similar in their profiles. They're all number nines. That's the truth. I mean, Nunez, he can play out wide, like I said. Suarez used to play really well when he dropped deep, more as a playmaking role. Cavani, he can do some brilliant tracking back, but in the basis, so in the start of what they are as a footballer, they're number nines. So I would not advise to play three number nines. That's just not the way I would like it. I would probably go with Nunez from the left, Suarez or Cavani in the number nine position, and a right winger from the right who can provide some individual brilliance, hopefully with his dribbling skills, but also some depth. Some running behind the offensive back line. Because if you want to have Suarez and Cavani in their best way, in their best moment, and really, well, how do you say it? Take advantage of their strengths. We need space. We can't play all the time in a congested area in the attack. And with wingers, they can be obviously brilliant on the ball, but also wingers with pace, they're important because they can run in behind and create space. Because when you have wingers like Ocampo maybe or Torres, who is less of this profile, he's more into the ball, he's less of the going deep. But we have a winger with speed and with depth in his game. He runs in behind, and although some defenses try not to do it, a lot of defenses they get pushed back because they are, well, not worried, but they are aware of the space behind them and the space that can be exploited by a winger. But a lot of these wingers running in behind, it's how do you say it? It's a foil, or how do you say, a recoil? I don't know how to say it, but it's distraction basically. It's to create space, and that is what we need. We need these midfield or these wingers to also do their job. Obviously, maybe make something happen, score a goal, because that's also something that's missing. Goals from our wingers at the last few years, but we need them as well to have their speed in behind to create space for the attackers and also for the midfield to play and to progress the play, and that could help a lot. So yeah, already been going 50 minutes, and I'm gonna end it right there. I enjoyed all of you being here and giving me your opinions and talking to you. It's always nice. Hopefully, at the end of the week, we can celebrate the appointment of a manager that can bring us to the World Cup and importantly make us Uruguay again, because we lost a lot of our identity in the last few months for sure. Um, yeah, this is all I want. So hopefully I can speak to you in a few days and we will talk about the new manager. Will it be Diego Aguirre? Will it be Alexander Medina? Or will it be Diego Alonso? Let me know in the comments or in the chat right now or on Twitter at Uruguay Heroes who is your preferred option. And we will see in a few days. And I'm really excited to see it. So I want to thank you all for being here, giving the comments, being a good company. And then I will see you very soon. Bye bye.